Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a piece of tech that claims to fix a pretty big flaw in your water bill, a flaw that could be costing you thousands for something you don't even get. So, let's just jump right in with a pretty wild question. What if your water bill is lying to you? Seriously, what if a chunk of every single bill you pay is for something you can't see, you can't taste, and you definitely can't use? And this is where we get to the heart of the problem. See, your water meter, it's a pretty simple device. It just measures the volume of whatever flows through it. It has absolutely no way of knowing the difference between pure liquid water and, say, water mixed with air. So when those air bubbles go through, yep, you get a bill for them, just as if they were water. Okay, I know. Paying for air sounds a little out there, right? So let's break down exactly how this invisible tax is getting tacked onto your bill. The main culprit here has a name: entrained air. Just picture it like millions of tiny air bubbles that get whipped into the city's water supply. And this happens all the time, from pressure changes, big pumps kicking on and off, maybe a line breaks somewhere, even just old aging pipes can cause it. All right, so for a regular house, this might just be a few bucks a month, no big deal, right? But think about a business that uses a lot of water. We're talking hotels, laundromats, huge apartment buildings. For them, this air tax can become a massive, and let's be honest, a completely useless operating expense, month after month after month. So the big question is, how do you fix this? Well, the answer is all in the physics. It's about how water moves through the pipes before it even gets to your meter. Okay, so the water coming from the city is what's called turbulent flow. It's choppy, it's chaotic, and it's full of all those air bubbles we were just talking about. That's the state it's in when it hits your meter, which of course measures all that extra volume. The goal, the solution, is to get laminar flow. That's a smooth, solid, completely air-free stream of water. That's the only way you're going to get a true reading. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It's not that your meter's broken or faulty. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do: measure volume, period. And if air is part of that volume, well, it gets counted, and you end up footing the bill. All right, so if that messy, turbulent flow is the problem, then it seems pretty clear, right? The solution has to be creating that smooth, laminar flow before the water ever hits the meter. And that is exactly the idea behind the AquaFlow Valve. It gets installed on your side of the water line right after the meter, and its entire job is to create a little bit of back pressure, a compression zone that completely changes the state of the water that the meter is about to read. Let's just walk through how this thing actually works. So you've got that turbulent, air-filled water coming in from the city. The valve, which sits right after the meter, creates a point of resistance. This generates back pressure, which then literally squeezes those entrained air bubbles so small they basically become insignificant. They don't register as volume anymore. So what ends up passing through the meter is a solid, laminar flow of just water. You get an accurate reading. And the air? It just harmlessly decompresses on the other side. Pretty smart. Now, besides how it works, the build quality and the certifications are a huge deal. This thing is made in the USA from medical-grade stainless steel. It's fully certified, so it meets all the important safety and plumbing codes. And it's not some one-size-fits-all gadget either. Each one is actually calibrated for the specific pressure and flow of the property it's going into. Okay, so we've nerded out on the signs a little bit, but the real story here, the reason this is so interesting, is how changing the flow of water translates directly into some pretty serious financial gains for property owners. And this is what it's all about. This is the immediate, you can see it on paper, result. By making sure you're only paying for the water you actually use, not the air mixed in with it, your monthly bills for both water and sewer, because remember, sewer costs are often tied to water usage, they just drop dramatically. So how dramatic a drop are we talking about here? Well, according to the materials we've seen, clients are typically saving anywhere from 10 to a whopping 30% on their monthly water and sewer bills. And this is really the key takeaway. This isn't just about saving a bit of cash each month. For any commercial property, when you cut a recurring operating expense like a utility bill, you directly increase the property's net operating income, or NOI. And if you know anything about real estate, you know that NOI is a huge metric for determining a property's value. Okay, let's put a real number on that, because this is where things get, well, kind of mind-blowing. The sources give a fantastic example. Saving just $1,000 a month on your water bill, That adds $12,000 a year to your NOI. Now, using a standard 6% cap rate for valuation, that one simple installation can increase the value of your property by an incredible $200,000. That's a game changer. And believe it or not, the money isn't even the whole story. By creating a smoother, more stable flow, the valve also cuts down on wear and tear on the meter itself. It can prevent that really damaging vibration known as water hammering, and it helps stabilize water pressure for the whole building. Okay, so with claims this big, it's totally natural to be a little skeptical. You're probably asking, where's the proof? How do I know this will work for me? And what if it doesn't? Well, the company seems to get that, and they address the risk directly. There's a 6-month, no questions asked money-back guarantee. They even offer a 90-day free trial so you can see the savings for yourself. And on top of all that, there's a lifetime warranty on the valve itself. They've pretty much made it a risk-free investment. And their credibility is also backed up by a pretty impressive list of clients. I mean, when huge brands like KFC, Chick-fil-A, and the Ritz-Carlton, companies that are absolutely meticulous about their operating costs, start using a technology, well, that speaks volumes about whether or not it actually works. And finally, just to make sure everything is safe and up to code, the product is fully certified. It meets the really tough requirements of IAPMO for plumbing, and it's got the NSF/ANSI 61 certification, which is basically the gold standard for components used in safe drinking water systems. You know, it's also worth pointing out that this isn't some brand new gadget that just hit the market. The AquaFlow Valve is actually the result of over 15 years of research, development, and refinement, with thousands of successful installations already out there in the world. So what we've really seen here is how a pretty simple principle of fluid dynamics can have a massive, massive financial impact. It completely reframes your monthly utility bill. It's not just a cost you have to pay, but a potential source of hidden, untapped value. Which really leaves us with one last big question for any property owner out there. How much value are you leaving locked away in